how to navigate child support issues during the pandemic. So I'm hearing a lot of questions about, hey, I'm not getting the child support that the other parent was ordered to pay. Or I'm also hearing, hey, I can't afford to pay the child support pursuant to the court's previous order because my job has been impacted as a result of COVID. I'm either no longer employed at the same place, or I'm just simply making a lot less money because I took a job just to make ends meet. So we're going to talk about what some of your options are as it relates to child support issues during the pandemic. Now, if you are not getting child support and there's a court order that obligates or that tells the other parent that they have to pay child support, one option that you have is to file a motion for contempt. Essentially, in the motion for contempt, you will say the order, said that the other parent had to do this or pay this amount, and they have failed to do so. You can file that motion. You can get a hearing set on that motion, but you have to do more than just file the motion and show up to the hearing. It's important for everyone to understand that in order for someone to be found in contempt of court, you have to find that they willfully failed to comply with the court's order. Well, what does that mean? If a parent's not paying because they lost their job, they're living check to check, they don't really have any additional income, their bank account is negative, that's, one story. That's one issue. It may be hard to show they willfully failed to pay their child support, right? If they went from making $25 an hour to, $9 an hour, that may be difficult to show that they have the ability to pay and they failed to pay. Okay. But if you have another parent that's just not paying, but they went out and purchased a new car, or they received their stimulus money and they went shopping on a shopping spree, the court may find in that circumstance that they willfully failed to comply because they had money, right? They just opted not to use that money towards their child support obligation. So it's important that you make sure that you do your due diligence prior to the hearing, and you want to make sure that you request bank statements, pay stubs, tax returns to substantiate, your claim that they're making, that they had the ability to pay, but they're just not doing it. So you want to make sure that you take the proper steps to get those documents, and that you know how to get those documents into evidence once you actually get to the hearing. So you can show the judge, like, look, he did this with his money or she did that with her money, but they did not pay their child support. So that's one option. How do you modify your child support? Now, in order to modify your child support obligation in Florida, you have to show a substantial change of circumstances. And so as it relates to child support, the statute states that a 15% change or a $50 change, whichever amount is greater, right, as it relates to your child support obligation, would constitute a substantial change in circumstances. But there's a catch to it. It has to be a permanent change. So what does that mean? Last year, almost a year ago, to almost the day, or not, well, maybe March, the pandemic started. People were losing their jobs or getting laid off. And so what a lot of people did is that they immediately went to court and tried to modify their child support based on being, laid off for a couple of months. And a lot of those cases got dismissed because in order for it to be considered a permanent change in circumstances, it has to be a change that has lasted for at least a year. So if you were laid off back in March of 2020 as a result of the pandemic, and you haven't been able to earn that same income for over a year, you may be able to file for a modification of your child support now, based on the fact that it's been over a year, you're not making the same amount of money, and you need a modification. So that's something to keep in mind as well. One thing that's important too to keep on your radar is that if you file right now in, let's say, April 7th, but you don't get a final order until December, you may get a modification of your child support back to the date that you filed. So it's important that you understand that time is of the essence, that you file for your modification, because even though you won't get it immediately, it will go back to the date that you filed it for that modification. Again, some of your options for child support is to, if you're not getting the child support you need, you could file a motion for contempt. If you are unable to pay child support based on a substantial change in circumstances, then you can file a supplemental petition to modify your child support. And time is of the essence, because if you wait too long, we can't go back and modify the months that, prior to you filing. So we have to modify from the date of filing moving forward. So make sure that you contact either my firm or a competent lawyer in your city to assist you with your child support issues. Don't forget to click on the link in the comments if you have any other questions, and make sure that you stay tuned and follow us again for our live Family Law live feed next week.